Oh my god. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Christian. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. It's been 6 months since your latest album dropped. How are you feeling?
I feel good,
Yeah?
yeah. But I feel like I need to make more music.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're making more music.
Okay. And how do you feel like the album's gone so far?
Good. At the start it was actually really well received. Like we had heaps of Spotify views and stuff like that. And the album's like, people really love some of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually like, it's not like our old shit where it was just like, you can just play it. Like people actually like resonate with some of the songs a lot harder. Because we got better at songwriting and writing about like more potent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, in that sense the album's like lived longer in people's hearts.
And we're sitting in the room where the album was created.
Yeah.
How long did it take to create the album?
It took about a year? Yeah, no, it took about a year. I mean, we started by doing 3 songs, and then from those 3 songs, like, I was just in there, like, creating that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it took a year.
Okay.
Because it wasn't just, like, make a hit and then put it out. It was, like, sit down and, like, write a song, and then rewrite, or, like, use the lyrics from this song, and put it on a different instrumental that fits, like, the same colour of the whole album.
Right. It's a 15-track album.
Yeah.
Which was the first track you finished?
It would have been probably I Just Stepped Up In It.
And what was the last track you finished?
06 Summertime.
How was your journey going from that one track? Because those are two both very different.
Yeah, they're both very different tracks.
So how would you explain
well, the
either
reason,
of those?
So like the reason for I Just Stepped Up In It and how that kind of like started the whole album was because we made it to perform live for Origin. And then like, so that's why that song is like a huge opener, like a show opener, and it's just like boom in your face. And then 06 came because I was like, we need something to like, we need like a single, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And how do you get a single? Like, what is that to you? Like, you're like, we need a single.
Just the structure of it.
Okay.
Like, it's got a hook, a post-chorus.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with like the same little phrase that it ends with. Like,
So you can tell when a song is a hit?
I can't tell, but like, I don't know, you can, it's all like architecture, like, right? It's like made to be digested this way, you know? Like, I know I Miss You is more avant-garde than 06 Summertime, like it's not as easily digestible. But then some people like, let's talk about love, Love's Last Ballet, like that's their favourite track. And they don't even like Palm Angels, they don't like Cover Vogue, they don't like 06, and those are like the biggest on Spotify. You know what I mean?
So why do you think they like more avant-garde?
Because some people some people just have that type of certain taste. That's why you can't like plan a hit, but you know it's going to resonate with people more. Because
it's catchier.
Yeah.
Easier to follow.
It's like musical science.
Mm-hmm. So what's your favourite track on the album?
You can't ask me that.
Okay.
I don't have a favourite track.
You don't have a favourite track?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because like your kids?
Yeah.
Can't pick a favourite
They're all
one.
different.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have their purpose.
Okay.
I like them all though, they're all really good.
Why do you start the album with the conundrum of art?
Because the whole album artwork is centered around like us being more perceived as artists rather than just guys who can make music or just rappers. So it's like the conundrum of art. I got that excerpt from F is for Fake by Orson Welles, and like the conundrum of art was originally written by Rudyard Kipling, and it's called The Conundrum of the Workshop, and it just, that whole question like, it's pretty but is it art, is kind of like the whole like basis around the whole album and like all the songs in it and shit like that. Because like obviously like it's pretty and it sounds good because like I'm good at my job, you know what I mean? But it's like in there is so much art. Like Love's Last Ballet was written like from that book, pretty much, the Shakespeare book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of your references come from books?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Because like Well, I think I get a lot of references from everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, the Conundrum of Art, that intro is from a movie of Orson Welles reading a poem from a book. So like, I don't know. But I think like written word, and especially English, is one of like the most potent ways to communicate something.
So when you want to make a track, what's your first step when you sit down? Do you have a step process? Okay, I'm going to make a song today, or I need to work on a song today.
Sometimes it'll start with like just a beat,
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes it'll start with a name. Like, and So They Came, Falling from the Sky, I wrote because of that painting.
Mm-hmm.
So it started with that
Mm-hmm.
image in my head.
Right.
So like I had that image in my head. I was like, what does that sound like? You know what I mean?
As a producer, what is the song that you are most proud of constructing?
Two of the harder ones on the album, or three of them, are all the long ones. So Love's Last Ballet, I Miss You, and Nights. And like, if you like dissect those and break them down, they're like fully genius. Like, Nights starts with like this horn and string section, and then it goes into like this guitar and like drum break, and then like it transitions into like a hook of just like pure auto tune and like synthetic sounds and like this bass line that goes like boom 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 boom, you know, and then it goes back into like the guitar and shit, and then it has this bridge of just this horn and string section, and then it goes into the chorus and then outro, and then it like continues on in the same key but just with like strings and like big timpani drums, and then it's got like a second chorus on it, and it like lives that second life, and that whole song like tells a story. And that was a long one that took us a long time. Like, we wrote it on the whiteboard, like, we're starting at this point of this girl's journey and we're ending here, and like, why are we telling her story, and like what are we trying to communicate?
Are there any samples used on the album that we might not know about?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna tell you because I don't want that shit to get taken down.
Oh my god.
You know Jay-Z's verse in BBC? I was like, what you know about going out here?
Yeah.
But he like bit Mace's verse from what's that Mace song? Feels So Good?
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
not really a sample.
It's not a sound, it's just like an interpolation.
Yeah.
And it's like extending on that lineage of hip hop, you know?
Go
I
back
mean
and
the
listen to it.
outro for the album, like the clapping.
Yeah.
That was from when Steve Jobs unveiled the Macintosh.
That's really cool.
Wait, which song?
The very end song. The future is not what it used to be.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Talk about some of your references or some of your inspiration behind Love's Last Ballet. Particularly in the songwriting, not the production.
Okay. Yeah, the production's pretty minimal, except like the time signature change, which is sick. But not many people picked up on it, which is good.
Tell us about it.
It goes from like 7/8, which is like Pink Floyd used it for their song Money. And then it goes into 3/4, which is like the ballet tempo, you know, like the 1 2 3 1 2 3, and in the pre-chorus, and then for the chorus it's back to 7/8, that dancing and like that bit, and then it repeats that twice, but then for Bailey's verse it goes to 4/4, and then back to 7/8. Yeah, and you can't really tell. You can feel something's changed, but it doesn't. It's not jarring, which is good.
What song in the album do you really want to perform that you haven't performed already?
Probably I Miss You, or Love's Last Ballet.
Why is I Miss You such an emotional song for you? Because what?
Listen to it.
What does it bring out in you? Why is it so emotional for you?
I'm not good at answering that. I'm better at like writing a song about that.
Love's Last Ballet has some really interesting lyrics.
Very poetic.
Yes, because I bit them from like different references. So like the whole verse 1 and verse 2, like a lot of verse 2 is like A Midsummer Night's Dream, or like the bit where he's like he built his palace made a sound. That's from like the same quote that we made castles from. Laurel crown is Rome's new queen is like from Anthony and Cleopatra, like the laurel crown and how Julius Caesar, you know, like laurel crowned her Rome's new queen, and then how Cupid shot his bow, and then I go on to say like this Romeo and Juliet line, and talk about like when Romeo died. Each pre-chorus, where it goes into 3/4, we talk about two of John Lorenzo Bernini's sculptures. So one of them, the first one, I talk about the Ecstasy of San Teresa. So it's like this moment that John Lorenzo like rendered in marble. She like saw Cupid and she shot him with his bow, and like at that moment she fell in love. And it's a beautiful marble statue, so like in the pre-chorus like you can hear me like describing that. So that's where I talk about like Cupid pulled his bow, let that thing fly, a golden spear pierced him by far, and then Eros laughed, looked at her. Eros is like Cupid, you know. And then when Stella sings that same part, it's about Apollo and Daphne, and that story that John Lorenzo also marbleized, where like Apollo fell in love with Daphne, but she turned him into a tree. Or the river god turned him into a tree. That whole story.
So it's not really about
Turn her into a
physically
tree.
someone falling in love with someone. It's more about
The idea of love.
Mythology obviously plays a huge part
Mm.
in your writing.
Yeah.
How do you get references for your verses?
I'm just interested in that. Like, I remember reading Joseph Campbell, and he's like, the world tells that like everyone has the same universal problems, whether it's like the relationship between a father and a son, or like for Love's Last Ballet it was like the relationship between two people falling in love, and those stories have been told throughout history different ways, whatever religion like or mythology or whatever, like it's stories are just a way humans can communicate something and like visualize it and understand it better. So like I've always been interested in that, so I figured like the best way to communicate and tell our story, or like try and resonate with other people, is kind of like use that same ethos.
Because that's the difference between mainstream music that everyone listens to and the music that you create, is because there's a deeper sense of meaning behind everything.
That's why that's where the intro comes into play, where it's like it's pretty, but is it art?
Yeah.
You know?
in your most recent track that you're about to release, Castles, you say
I
I wrote Love's Last to T.S.
How T.S. wrote Wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one figured, but it wasn't a waste. Can you explain where T.S. Eliot Wasteland is referenced in Love's Last Ballet?
T.S. Eliot isn't referenced in it, but like the way I wrote Love's Last Ballet was the way T.S. wrote Wasteland. He's alluding to old like English writings, or he's alluding to Dante when he brings it all together to like create what he like his Wasteland. So it's like all these fragments of all these poems and all these writings and all this English canon that he put in there. So that's what Love's Last Ballet was. Like it took reference from Homer's Odyssey, like that first bit, how it's like he looked into her eyes and saw the stars. That's from Homer's Odyssey.
Talk to us about the outro. Is it finishing a journey, or is it...
It's unveiling.
Unveiling a journey.
That's why I use Steve Jobs' thing.
You're unveiling something at the end of a project?
Yeah, the whole shit, like, we had just, by you listening it, we just had unveiled something to you.
Is it closing the project though, or is it leaving it open?
No. It leaves it open.
Okay.
It's like, get ready for the next shit. Like the clapping, it seems like it's an end of something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like after everything, there's always clapping, like when it ends. But this is more like, if you know where I got the reference from, it's like, oh no, that was just the start of like Apple changing the world.
I want to talk about the flow and the beat and the production of the album, not really the lyrics, more so the production. The references for the beats and the music, where do you pull your references from?
Different places, like anyone. I just, whether it's me sampling or me like coming up with chords.
Do you listen to anything for inspiration?
Yeah, I listen to everything.
What do you listen to?
Right now?
Sure.
Jill Scott Heron, but like I wasn't listening to that when I made the album. When I made the album, I was listening to like, I was listening to Crystal Castles. I was listening to, who else was I listening to? Pharrell, a lot of Pharrell.
The Neptunes?
The Neptunes, a lot of the Neptunes. That's where like 06 Summertime came from.
Who's your biggest producer influences?
Obviously Kanye West. And then Freddie Mercury, Damon Albarn, I don't know, Pharrell. The list goes on. Timbaland. You can see a lot of like Timbaland structure references, especially with like "And So They Came."
How do you write a song? Is there a specific process?
Every song's different, I guess. Like sometimes we'll write a whole verse and then come up with a chorus. It's different every time. I don't like to do it like structurally. That's why I don't know. I always imagine it's just a purely blank canvas. The canvas isn't even there, you know what I mean?
Where do you write your music?
In a book or in my notes on my phone.
Where's your book?
Yeah.
Is it full?
Not yet.
Open a page and read something.
He builds his castles made in the sky of the sky, and then that's where I go, made rich up a couple bucks, I'm a broke boy, I could give a fuck. But that's castles.
Can you show us what it looks like? Yeah, is there a track that off the album that's written in there?
Oh yeah, here we go. There's like the yeah 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 from And So They Came. So it's like yeah yeah yeah. Here we go again, talking that ish. The sound so rico got me speaking Spanish. And then like you can see I scribbled out all the rest. And there's lines that weren't even in there. Like, baby, you could have been a star if you just didn't quit. Can you open up your legs? Because I can't even fit it in. Yeah, that's why
that didn't make it.
I didn't make it.
Getting back to the production.
Yeah.
What's your favourite type of drum to use on a track?
What do you mean my favourite type of drum?
What type of drums do you like to...
They're just like they're like from sample packs. There's no favourite type of drum.
There's nothing that
No, I switch it up all the time.
You switch it up all the time. That's good.
But like I know the sound that I want. Like a lot of the time, the preferred sound of a kick I like is like a low, like punchy. It's not really that fluffy. It's just like a nice, warm kick.
And when you finish the song, do you listen to it in different types of ways?
Yeah, like everyone.
Wow.
Like different speakers and shit.
Yeah.
And I like to listen to it through other people. So like bring people in and listening. Because you can see, that's the best way to tell. Because obviously I know what's about to happen. Like say the beat comes in or like if I break it somewhere. But like when strangers don't know that's going to happen and they come in and they react to that, then I'm like, okay, that hit them.
Your album shows that you're quite a versatile producer. What would you say is your most favourite genre?
Hip hop. And then like classical music. Or like rock and roll.
Do you think you put those two together in your music?
Yeah, for sure. But hip hop is like undefinable.
Who would be a dream to work with?
I'd love to work with like Rocky, Kanye, produced for like heaps of other artists. I'd love to work with Damon Albarn from the Gorillas. That would be sick. Who else? Just guys I look up to, like Pharrell, Timbaland, Jay-Z obviously. That'd be killer. Andre 3000, Frank Ocean. I don't know.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
I'm missing heaps, but like...
What age did you start making music?
When I was, I think 18. No, it would have been 17 when I left school. Yeah, 17. But like, I guess internally I've been making music forever. Like everyone does, like when you walk down the street and you just start humming and like patting. But like I didn't have Ableton until I was 17.
Was it hard for you to create music?
Nah, it was hard to learn the software. That's the hard part. To get out, like, to kind of like make something out of your dreams is the hard part. But the dreaming part's easy, you know? I find that easy.
What are some of your earlier music memories, music that you listened to that made you want to pursue music?
Probably Freddie Mercury.
When you were young?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, obviously Kanye West. So when I discovered Kanye and I was like, fuck, like, I can actually do this.
What type?
Because I never learned keyboard, so I couldn't be Freddie Mercury. You know, I can't sing like Freddie, so I was like, I can never make music. But then like you see like Q-Tip was making beats from records, and you're like, shit, I can actually do this.
What type of music did you grow up listening to in your house, with your family?
Mum used to play like a lot of Italian shit. Nonna and Nonno used to listen to classical, and a lot of opera. Nonno loved opera.
Which has clearly influenced
yeah.
you in
and then
major
obviously,
ways.
Yeah, and then Dad listened to like heaps of rock and roll, and then a lot of hip hop he listens to.
Like what?
He used to show me, like when I was a kid, he showed me like 8 Mile by Eminem, yeah.
What rock music?
Like Pink Floyd, The Clash, The Cure. He gave me that Queen album. My first 3 albums was Dad gave me News of the World by Queen. Then I went out and bought this Guns N' Roses like live tour record. And then for Christmas someone got me Demon Days by Gorillaz. And that's like a really dark album. So that's the first like the other shit was just guitars and stuff. Like Gorillaz had like the synth bass and like the drums that were heavy and dark.
When did it click for you that music was going to be your career?
When I was in school, I was getting I was shit at maths, and I was really creative and really good at English. But in this we had these tests where you have to figure out patterns. So you have to figure out Fibonacci sequence and figure out all these patterns in these numbers, and I was really good at it. I just got 100% in all of them, but then I'd fail on my other shit, and the teacher was like, the hell, what's going on? But then Dad was like, you're really good at finding patterns in things, maybe you should try and make some music, because you love music, obviously.
You play an instrument?
No, but I taught myself a bit of piano. You have to.
So what was your first step in making music?
I wanted to buy oh man, what was it called? It's called it was this drum machine that you could chop up samples on. It wasn't an MPC, it was something else. Dr. Rhythm or something? Because I just saw a lot of YouTube, I just looked at YouTube tutorials and I was like, oh, I need one of these to chop up samples like Kanye did.
You bought that online?
No, I didn't buy it because Mum was like, it's too expensive, we can't buy that. So then we worked and I bought, I just watched tutorials and then I figured out Ableton was the best way to go, just through research. And then eventually for my birthday, Dad got me Ableton and I read the whole manual before I got it, so I knew how to use that shit straight away. And that's it.
Excellent. And I guess my last question would be, what can we expect in the next album? What sound can we expect?
It's gonna be different, but it's a journey. This one's more of a journey.
What are you inspired by right now? Because you're creating it, right?
Yeah, I'm mid-creating.
So
it.
what kind of process are you in at the moment?
Now I'm writing the first half of the album. The second half is pretty much already done. So just going back in and writing the first half.
And it's inspired by?
Life.
Inspirations right now? Life?
Yeah, pretty much. Just life and telling our story.
In a year's time, what am I going to be looking at?
The album will be done by then. But I don't know. We probably won't be in this room. Hopefully we're in a nicer room.